The tennis world had been holding its breath. For days, Alexandra had remained silent. She had walked off the court in Cincinnati, defeated by Amanda Anisimova, her dream run shattered by a brutal 4-6, 6-4, 2-6 loss that had seen her win the first set, only to lose 6 consecutive games in the deciding set. The Filipina sensation, the woman who had taken the sport by storm, had not spoken. The fans had been left wondering. The media had been left guessing. And then, she finally broke her silence. What she said left everyone utterly speechless. Press conference room was packed. Journalists from around the world had gathered, their recorders ready, their questions prepared. They expected the usual platitudes. They all work harder speeches. They all learned from this loss, cliches. They did not expect what came next. Eala sat down, calm and composed, and began to speak. She did not talk about the defeat. She did not dwell on what she could have done differently. She spoke about something far more profound. She spoke about the secret that had been driving her throughout the tournament. She spoke about community. She spoke about family. She spoke about the Filipino fans who had packed the stadiums, who had traveled hundreds of miles, who had stayed up past midnight to watch her compete. She spoke about the responsibility that came with being a symbol of hope for millions of people. I think that I was playing well. I think I felt the ball good, was really focused, and tried to keep myself in the zone. She began, her voice steady and measured. But it was what followed that truly captivated the room. My days have gotten a little more packed with the commitments and spending time with you guys, but obviously in a very good way, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I think it's a good sign, and it's helping me become a stronger player and be more kind of established on tour. The secret was not about tennis. It was about growth. It was about embracing the spotlight without being consumed by it. It was about understanding that the Eala mania, the relentless attention, the packed stadiums, the millions of fans, all of it was part of her journey, not a distraction from it. The question had been hanging in the air for weeks. Eala had been on a tear, winning 8 of her last 9 matches heading into Cincinnati. She had captured her first WTA title in Washington. She had reached the 4th round in Toronto. She had climbed to a career-high ranking of world number 20. But no one, not even her closest supporters, knew what was really driving her. What was the secret behind her remarkable rise? And why had she refused to speak about it? Eala sat in the press conference room, surrounded by cameras and reporters, her voice soft but her words cutting through the noise. She had been asked to reflect on the most surreal moment of the last few months, to capture the essence of what had changed for her. It's very difficult to pick, she admitted. It would have to be between Wimbledon and Washington, of course. I think playing on center court and winning in such fashion against great players, something I'll never forget, and it was my first win on center. So, crazy experience, and of course, everyone says you'll never forget your first title. But the secret was not just about the victories. It was about the connections she had made along the way. It was about the moments that had defined her journey, the moments that had shaped her into the player she had become. I've been trying to take it day by day, she said. I'm in a good place mentally. The secret was humility. Eala had been compared to Manny Pacquiao, the boxing legend who had united a nation, and she had been quick to deflect the praise. I think I'm still very, very far from the levels of Pacquiao, she said. He's done a lot for us athletes, I think, to pave the way. It never really crossed my mind when I was watching his fights back home that one day I would be compared to him now. She acknowledged the similarities in their paths, the way they inspired communities and brought people together, but insisted that their journeys were unique. I think we have 2 unique journeys. I don't think one takes away from the other. I think they're beautiful journeys. They both have their own beautiful set of characteristics. The secret was about perspective. Eala was not defining her success by tournament results alone. I think it's just the level that I play that matters, she said. Did I bring the level that I wanted to bring? So if I lose first round, but it's a really good match, I wouldn't say that it was a successful week, but it wasn't a bad one. It was a philosophy that set her apart from her peers, a maturity that belied her 21 years. She understood that greatness was not just about winning. It was about the journey, the growth, the connections that made the journey worthwhile. Eala's secret was not just about her own mindset. It was about the people who had supported her every step of the way. The Filipino community had turned out in unprecedented numbers at every tournament, transforming neutral venues into celebrations of national pride. Cincinnati Open Tournament director Bob Moran was stunned by what he witnessed before Eala had even played her opening match. So the first day she played, we had her on court 3, which is great. That's a grounds ticket to get in. Basically, at 8 o'clock, that line was already formed of Eala fans at the front gate. We didn't open until 9:30 p.m., so they sat out there for an hour and a half just waiting, and as soon as those gates opened, it was a stream of fans to court 3 to get the best seats possible. I haven't seen anything like this. I really haven't. Moran, who has plenty of experience around professional tennis as tournament director of both the Cincinnati Open and the Charleston Open, made his view clear when asked whether he had ever witnessed anything similar. No, I haven't seen this. It's a phenomenon. It's great for women's tennis, 100%. Moran also revealed that the weekend had produced record attendance numbers at the Cincinnati Open. Eala herself was overwhelmed by the support. It was an incredible atmosphere. It was so fun. This is my first time here, so I didn't know what to expect. I'm really happy with it. She spoke of the Filipino fans who had followed her across the tour, who had packed the stadiums and filled the stands with their energy. When I think of Filipino culture, what comes to mind is community, family, hospitality, love, and kindness, she said. But she was quick to add that no culture could be summed up in just a few words. Filipino culture, and just every culture in general, is very layered. It's ever-evolving. The impact of the Eala Mania was not just about the crowds. It was about the connections she had made with her fans, the personal stories that had touched her heart. A couple of sentences from them is enough to see a glimpse into their stories, or, how tennis has impacted their lives, or how being Filipino and their pride has affected them personally. She said, I think it's crazy how inspiration can affect other people to what depths. Eala had reunited with her parents in Cincinnati, a moment that added an extra layer of emotion to her campaign. They were there for their wedding anniversary and her father's birthday. Her victory over Elena-Gabriela Ruse was not just a revenge match. It was a celebration of family, a validation of the years of sacrifice that had brought her to this point. My days have gotten a little more packed with the commitments and spending time with you guys, but obviously in a very good way, and I'm enjoying a lot, Eala said. The increased attention was not a burden. It was a sign that she was establishing herself on tour, becoming a stronger player and a more recognizable figure. Eala's Cincinnati run was a testament to her skill and resilience. She arrived with a career-high seeding of 17th and a first-round bye, a privilege that had previously been out of reach. Her opening match against Elena-Gabriela Ruse was an opportunity for redemption, a chance to exorcise the ghost of the 2024 U.S. Open qualifiers where the Romanian had denied her a Grand Slam main draw appearance. The result was emphatic. Eala dominated from the very first ball, breaking Ruse's serve 3 times in the first set, firing 9 winners while forcing her opponent into 11 errors. The scoreline was brutal, 6-1. The second set was more of the same, with Eala jumping to a 3-0 lead before play was suspended due to a lightning warning. Ruse, who had been struggling with a foot injury, called for a medical timeout and eventually retired from the match. The victory even out their head-to-head to 1-1. I think I played really well, Eala said after the match. I think I found my groove early, and I was able to hold that until the end of the match. I'm really happy with my debut. She also wished Ruse a speedy recovery, demonstrating the grace that had made her a fan favorite. First and foremost, I just want to wish Gabriela Ruse a speedy recovery. Injuries aren't fun, so I hope she recovers soon. The victory improved Eala to 8-1 during the North American hardcourt swing, a remarkable run that had included her first WTA title in Washington and a 4th-round appearance in Toronto. She had beaten Iga Swiatek at Wimbledon, defeated Jessica Pegula in Washington, and taken down Coco Gauff and Elena Rybakina. The revenge tour was no longer just a theme. It was a mission. The 3rd-round match against Amanda Anisimova was a battle that stretched well past midnight, lasting 2 hours and 28 minutes. Eala started strongly, winning the opening set 6-4 after a grueling 67 minutes of tennis. But Anisimova, a former world number 3 and two-time Grand Slam finalist, fought back to take the second set 6-4. In the deciding set, Eala broke early to lead 2-0, only for Anisimova to storm back, winning the next 6 games in a row to close out the match 4-6, 6-4, 6-2. The defeat was a bitter pill to swallow. It ended Eala's 5-match winning streak against top 10 opponents. But the loss was not just about the streak. It was about the lessons it had taught her. Anisimova had come into the match with a 1-6 record against top 20 opponents, but she had refused to give up. The American had turned her frustration into determination and had found a way to win when it mattered most. I know Alex is such a great player and such a fighter. I knew it was going to be a really tough match, Anisimova said after the victory. There was quite a bit of support from me tonight, so I really appreciate that because I know how loved Alex is, and for good reason. The defeat did not define Eala's run. It was a setback, but it was also an opportunity to grow. Eala had learned that even the best fall short sometimes. She had learned that the margins at the highest level are incredibly small, and she had learned that resilience is just as important as talent. The loss provided valuable preparation for the U.S. Open, the final Grand Slam of the season, which began on August 30th at Flushing Meadows. Despite the heartbreak in Cincinnati, Eala's future remains incredibly bright. She has already accomplished what no Filipino tennis player has ever done. She has climbed to a career-high ranking of world number 20. She has won her first WTA title. She has beaten 9 top 10 opponents. And she is still only 21 years old. The U.S. Open, the final Grand Slam of the season, looms on the horizon. Eala will be one of the biggest attractions at the tournament, drawing massive crowds and generating enormous media attention. The Eala mania shows no signs of slowing down. The Eala effect is real, and the tennis world is watching. Eala's secret, the one she had finally revealed, was not about tactics or training or tennis. It was about embracing the journey, the community, the connections that made the journey worthwhile. It was about understanding that success is not just measured in wins and losses. It is measured in the lives you touch, the people you inspire, and the legacy you leave behind. Pacquiao's fights often emptied streets as people remained glued to their televisions to watch him. Eala's matches have kept a nation sleepless because of the time zones she competes in. The comparison was apt, but Eala was not content to simply be compared to the greatest Filipino athlete of all time. She was determined to carve her own path, to create her own legacy, to inspire a generation of Filipinos who had never seen a tennis player like her before. Like Pacquiao before, Eala has Filipino sports fans everywhere in the world spellbound, and her impact goes beyond match deep. Her secret was finally out, and it left everyone speechless.